Oh look, it's another one of these. A plug amp. This one's by Tonex. Here's the question, buddy. Do we really need another one of these? So here it is. This is the new Tonex plug. So on the face of it, it looks just like another one of these, right? So the way it works is you take this part and you plug it into your guitar like so. Then you take some headphones, headphone plug, and you plug it in right here and you turn it on, and now you can play with headphones and you have a little amp on your guitar and you can sit on your couch and you can play. And it's got the same basic stuff that all the other ones have. It's got a volume up and down. It's got a USB out so you can charge it. 5 hours of playtime. You can hook it up to an interface, which is what you've been hearing during this video. You can go through some presets. This one actually has a tuner. You push these two buttons down and it has a tuner and a power on-off button. So what's the big deal? Why do we need this thing? These things just sort of get relegated to toy status. They get thrown in the drawer and I don't really use them a whole lot. There's a couple of times that I use them and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but overall they're kind of cute. They're sort of a novelty and I kind of get them, but I don't really care. So what's the difference here? It has to do with that word right there. And it's not about Tonex plug, this little piece that you have in your hand. It's in the technology behind the piece. Do you remember that movie where he's like, "You mean my finger? No, the man inside my finger." It's kind of the same thing here. If you know the reference, you'll get it. If not, that's okay. That was just stupid. I have right here a Tonex. Remember these? They came out a few years ago. They're like $400, something like that. And this is basically an interface between the Amplitude software and your guitar. So now you have captures from amplifiers, unlimited, for a few different reasons. One, because you can actually use a piece of equipment and capture your own amplifier and put it in this box and then have, all of your tube amps in this one little box on your pedal board. Or you could have somebody else's. You can buy somebody else's captures. You can have a whole world of amplifiers at your disposal with this little box. Up until this point, these little guys were kind of limited to the amount of presets that came on them, right? And there was a couple of brands where you could hook it up to an app on your phone and you could adjust it and turn on and off some effects and various things. And there were some very basic ones that you could just kind of play whatever the presets were in there. Until now. Because the technology behind this also supports this. That means that you have not a profiler or a capture device, but you can use any captured amplifier or profile, captured profile, so amp and pedal combinations, whatever, etc., in this little box because it interfaces with the Amplitude software, just like all of their other products. Of course, you're going to ask a couple of questions. The most important thing is, how does it sound? Well, that depends. How good is the capture that you're using? So let's listen to some captures that come on this device stock and tell me what you think. plug and play nature of this is pretty slick. We don't need to worry about apps or anything, actually. We can just plug it into the guitar like so. We can take our headphones and we can plug it straight in there. And then we just hit the power button and we turn it on. It's going to give us a battery indicator. I think if you tap the power button, it tells you that you've got 3 green lights, so your battery indicator is full. If you want to do a tuner, you can just push both of these buttons at the same time and it'll be a tuner, and it'll kind of go back and forth right there. You plug your headphones in and you're ready to rock. You just turn your guitar up and you're playing. The one thing I will say about this is the quality of the sound that you're going to get not only has to do with the quality of the capture that you have, but also have some good headphones. These are some Beyerdynamics. These are the ones that I use for all of my studio stuff and all of my podcasting and all of my whatever. I'll leave a link to them in the description. These are pretty slick. I like them a lot. But these are like $200. But whatever you put into your headphones is going to have a good reflection on what you record with. So now, all we're going to do to record, because for me to show you how this thing sounds, we're just going to take a USB cable. We're going to plug it into there. We're going to plug this into our MacBook Pro. You could use an iPad if you wanted. And I'm just going to use GarageBand. And it's going to be that simple. And it sounds thusly. Alright, so if you kind of went through that stuff and you're like, some of them are okay, I wish they didn't have this or they didn't have that. One of the things I noticed on the higher gain stuff is that a lot of them have a lot of noise gate on them, right? And so it kind of sounds weird. Some of them have compression kind of built into the presets, which I'm not always a fan of. So what if you want to make some adjustments? What if you want to mess around with it a little bit? Well, then you've got the app here. So we've got all of these presets. So let's just pick one. Let me see if there's one here that 80s Hero. Here we go. So this one is going to have a bunch of stuff on it. So what it's got is it's got a noise gate. So here is our noise gate. So we can turn that on, turn that off, adjust it however we want. This is based on a 5150. So here we can adjust everything we want. This will actually give you the cab. And it will also give you the stuff that's kind of like in the, you can put it in the loop. You can take it out of the loop. You've got all this stuff you can adjust. So it's basically just like a regular pedal board setup, more or less. And then you just save it, right? So then you've got it saved to your presets and everything is there. The other thing you can do, I can't do it on this app because this is a pre-release version, but you can log into ToneNet and you can have access to a whole bunch of other ones online. So basically you can have either any kind of profiles that you have, captures that you have done of your own amps at home, or you can have anything that you've purchased, anything that you've gotten from friends. It's super, super cool. A couple other tools here. It's got a tuner built into it. And then you can mess around with your Bluetooth and all that stuff. It's super easy to use. I didn't have any kind of connection issues or anything. It was really, really simple. And like I said, as you can see here, it's super easy to kind of, here's your post. So you can move this stuff. So if you want to put this pre or post, you can do that. So you can mess around with all of that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty easy. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time messing around with the app because you'll get it and you'll start to use it. But that's basically it. To me, problem solved. What I love about this is you can go from very, very simple to very, very in-depth, and it's your choice, right? I think the objection that a lot of people have to this kind of technology is that it's fiddly, that you're going to mess with it a lot and you're not going to use it very much. I think this is going to be better because you'll get the exact sound that you want after messing around a little bit, but then you'll have it and you'll be able to play. I'll tell you where I find these very, very helpful. Obviously, sitting around on the couch playing guitar, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put my headphones on and I'll just have like this, and I'll have one ear off, and I'll just be playing my guitar, you know, watching TV with one ear off, listening to in one ear the guitar and, you know, some racing in the other or whatever, you know, kind of like that. The other thing that I'll do is I'll take a cheap set of corded earbuds with me whenever I go to a music store, because I will put that in my pocket, and then I'll be able to have tones that I'm familiar with, that I personally like, in the privacy of my own head without a bunch of people playing around me, so that I can test guitars. If you're purchasing a guitar off Facebook Marketplace or off Craigslist or something, you can have something with you to test that you're familiar with. You've made the sound, you like the sounds, and now you know for sure if you're gonna like what you're about to buy. To be honest with you, when I got it in the mail, because IK Multimedia did send me this. It actually says engineering sample on the back. They did send me this to test. I will say that I was like, okay, it's another one of these. But I have been pleasantly surprised. I really, really like this thing. And for the first time, I think it's one of these that is kind of for everybody. From the person who just wants to keep it simple and play a few tones, to the person who's going to use it really in depth as a player for actual tone captures and models that they've spent a lot of time putting together. And everywhere in between, you can kind of choose your own adventure with this thing. For the first time, I think this is one of these things that's going to be very, very useful. Thanks to IK Multimedia for sending me this thing to test. I will leave a link to it in the description where you can purchase it. When you use those links, it does help out the channel. Thank you very much for doing that. If you're interested in this thing, let me know. If you have more questions about it, maybe we'll shoot a follow-up video. I've been using it a bunch. Also, if you go over to our Patreon or if you're a YouTube member, there's going to be a full video of me going through every preset on this thing. I actually played through all 30 of them so that you could kind of hear them one after the other, and my first impressions of each while I was preparing for this video. Is actually kind of my real first impressions of all these sounds. So you could go to our Patreon. I'll leave a link to it. In fact, we'll just put it right here. Or the little subscription button, YouTube member button down there, and we will you'll be able to hear every sound that this thing makes stock, right? The stock sounds. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you in the next video.